Hello you guys, it's Grace, and today I am going to be doing my November wrap-up. I read 6 books in the month of November, well technically 6.5, I have the hiccups, I'm sorry. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna get into it. So the first book I read this month is The Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs. This book was really good. I talked about it a lot in the end of October when I was reading the first 2 books, and I also made a book talk on the whole series, or whole trilogy. So this is a really awesome book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and this whole series is just near and dear to my heart now because the characters were so lovable and I just really enjoyed it. Next up, I read Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices series. I actually read the whole trilogy this month. Basically, it's about a girl named Tessa, and she discovers that she has this special talent that she can shift into other people, and that makes her very wanted by a lot of other people that want to use her powers for themselves. So she finds refuge in this place with shadow hunters, and they keep her safe, and she ends up helping them through a lot of their own issues, and there's a wonderful love triangle, one of the only love triangles that I actually like and support both sides of it because you just start to feel for both of them. So I just love this book. It is now one of my favorite series in the whole world. So I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars easily. I'm so sorry. Alright, next up, I read Clockwork Prince, the second book in the trilogy, and this book was just as good as the first book. I was just in love with it. I can't even explain my love of it. So this is Jem on the cover, and I love him. I love Jem, and I love Will. So I just have a soft spot in my heart for all of the characters in this book. I had to take a little break from the series to finish my school book. I read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This book is very well known. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's a great book. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars just because there were some things in it that frustrated me, so I just felt I couldn't give it a 5 out of 5 stars, but it was amazing. I loved the style of writing, I loved the time period that it took place in. The ending kind of threw me for a loop, and I didn't really like the ending very much. I see why it was necessary in some ways, but I just couldn't get on the train for the ending of the book. So that is why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail for this one because it was a school book, and I'm sure most of you know what it's about. The Roaring Twenties and all that jazz. Alright, the next book I read is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, the third book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. I have no words. This book is one of my favorite books in the world now. I didn't think it was possible to get better after the first 2 books, but this book somehow did. It was beautiful, it was wonderful, the ending was like, oh my gosh, it had all the feels, and it was just amazing. It made me love the characters even more, and I ended up reading it in a few days. Actually, it was really weird because I read The Great Gatsby, I was in the middle of this book when I read The Great Gatsby. So technically, from the time I finished Clockwork Prince to Clockwork Princess, it was 4 days, but I did finish Great Gatsby in that time frame as well. So I just read this book every little chance I got. I was in class, hiding it under my desk, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? I don't think my teachers were very happy with me, but I had to finish it, and it was so good, and I have to say it is probably going to go down in history as one of my favorite books in the world. So 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. If I could give it a 10 out of 5 stars, I would. A million, a bajillion, I would. It's just, I loved it. And then the last book I read in the month of November is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book, I made a book talk on it, but it was not a very good book talk. I'm not even gonna lie, like, it was everywhere. It really had no, like, point. It was just me blathering on about the series, but I truly loved this series. I gave it a, well, duology, but I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. Obviously, everything this month except for The Great Gatsby got a 5 out of 5 stars, and that, I think, is why I read so many books this month, is because I was blessed to pick a bunch of them that were really good books. So I didn't think I would be able to enjoy a book a lot after finishing The Infernal Devices, and I actually took like a few days after finishing Clockwork Princess to just think about what I wanted to read. Like, it took me 2 days to even pick up a book, and it ended up being this one, and I loved it. But I originally had picked up City of Bones because I wanted more Cassandra Clare, and I wasn't going to be reading Lady Midnight until December because I'm buddy reading it with a friend of mine, so I decided to go back to the Mortal Instruments and see if it could help me get back into something else, because I enjoyed the Mortal Instruments less than I enjoyed the Infernal Devices, so I thought it would kind of wean me off of Cassandra Clare, but I just wasn't getting into it again, so I ended up reading descriptions of like 10 different books. I had like a pile of 10 different books that I was like, well, I can choose between these books because they sounded kind of good to me. And then I remembered I had this book, so I picked it up, I read the description, I started reading it, and I didn't stop because it was so good. I think I started about 4 different books and then ended up putting them down because I was like, I don't want to read this right now. But this book really caught me, it drew me in, I fell in love with the characters, and it was just really good. I'm hoping to put up a review of Crooked Kingdom, which I technically didn't finish until December 1st, so I'm not putting it in this wrap-up, but if you want to hear more of my thoughts on the duology, go ahead and check that out. I'm not sure if there'll be spoilers or not. It really depends on like where I take my book talks. I never actually plan them out. I just kind of say what comes to mind because I feel like those are the most honest type of book talks in the world. So that's just what I do. I do have one of this. It's very scatterbrained, but if you'd like to go check it out, feel free. It does have a couple little spoilers in it, so maybe don't watch it until you've read it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved all of the books I read this month, obviously. Yeah, I'm just gonna end this video before I blather on forever. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment below what you read this month, and subscribe to my channel so you never miss another video. I'll see you next time. Bye!